Steinmates, and Craig.
Oh, hey, why don't you just bring your whole group in here? They can be the people on.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a good group.
Am I on live?
Yes, you are now.
Hey.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Job Hunt Live today. How you guys all doing out there? Kind of back into the regular setup here today. How you guys all? Oh, always check your buttons before you sit down in front of the camera. I have one undone there. How you guys? I hope everyone's having a good day out there.
Yeah, the chair's messed up, but don't wiggle.
I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day out there. We're getting still a little settled in here. We got a whole group
It's
coming
chaos,
in.
yeah.
It's kind of chaos.
It's organized chaos, but it's chaos.
You know, it's Calamity Job Hunt Live. Everything's calamity here. It's calamity after calamity. So, hey, yesterday we were talking, I was doing the live yesterday, and we spoke about self-esteem and various things like that. And, you know, one of the things that I think that's important for us to remember is, as number one, we want to have that confidence in ourselves. And another reason we want to have confidence and be so, be our best kind of like, cheerleaders in a way, is because we also have, we have strengths, but we also have weaknesses. And weaknesses, it's okay to have weaknesses, all right? I mean, having a weakness just means you have something to work on. It means you have something that you can improve on. It has something you can grow with. A weakness is not, oh, I can't do this, therefore I'm, not as good as David Pizzo. But that's false just in general, because David Pizzo's a Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Everybody's better than Cowboy fans.
Sorry, just threw them all over the carpet.
Sorry, everybody's better than Cowboy fans. But
At least the Dallas Cowboys are better than the Seahawks.
but no. But the reality is that's not coming up with that whole comparing yourself to others. We talked a lot about that yesterday with the self-esteem thing. Is you don't want to compare yourself to others, because what somebody else's strength is, that might be your weakness, but that doesn't make you any less a part of the team. It doesn't make you any less, that would be in the work environment. It doesn't make you any less of a person at all. I mean, I can't play quarterback like Tom Brady. That's okay. That's just the way it is, you guys.
You can play like Uncle Rico, though.
But Uncle Rico, now, I'd give him a run for his money, okay? So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about...
Muhammad goes, even the Colts are better than the Cowboys. We suck. Thank you, Mom. You're right.
Today we're going to talk a little bit more about... we're going to talk about weaknesses. And the other thing, too, is weaknesses. Understanding your weaknesses. Another thing that's very important about understanding your weaknesses, it is a question that will come up in interviews. They will ask this. And someone who can actually talk about some of their weaknesses shows that they're self-aware of who they are and what and who they are and what they can do, and that means they're open, and that openness allows for them to be able to work on things and change. It's very hard. It's not the easiest thing to do, but today we're going to do that. We're going to see what some of these weaknesses are and what we can do to not make them weaknesses. All right? So, as always, Cowboys fans like to get nosy and get up in people's business. So,
because Cowboys have lots of weaknesses.
Because Cowboys have a lot of weaknesses. We got to work on those weaknesses. Interceptions and turnovers by their quarterback is definitely one of them. It's a weakness.
Yes, I know.
So he's definitely in camp right now working on that weakness, right? So, David, come on up. Join us here today on Job Hunt Live. Mr. Pizzo, welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Good?
Did you have a good lunch?
Yes.
Good deal, good deal, good deal, good deal.
Lunch is my weakness.
My lunch is a definite weakness of mine.
Well, food, regardless, is a weakness.
That's true. That is true. There's not many forms of food that I can deny. I don't think there are any. So, David, if you were sitting in an interview or even your job now that you're doing, if you had to say, I had a weakness. What would be your weakness, and how would you word that?
Before, because for me, I'm like my dad. I don't like big like crowds.
Okay.
But the thing is, working like at the Niner Stadium, the Nuts Stadium, and all that. To me, like the noises, it just goes in there, out the other. I found out that with my weakness from that, I've learned how to strengthen that weakness.
So David had a weakness, and one of his weaknesses was being around lots of people, and he felt like that was gonna possibly give you whatever, make you perform your job at less capacity. And so what you've done is you've exposed yourself to that stress and to that weakness that you felt like you had to help you overcome some of it. So now if I asked you to go stand in front of 100,000 people and throw the football for the game-winning touchdown, would you be nervous in front of all those people?
Just a little bit.
I'd be nervous as heck, but yes, I understand what you're saying. No, so yeah, that's good. And sometimes, actually, and David brings up a good point, sometimes our weakness is simply just lack of exposure. So we just don't feel like we've done it enough, and so therefore we're just scared of it. It's like kind of saying, like, that food over there looks gross, therefore I don't like it, and you've never had it, and then all of a sudden you try it one day and you're all, oh my gosh, what have I been doing with my life?
And it's like the most delicious thing on the planet.
Exactly. See, David knows food. That's one thing I'll give David. He knows food.
However, if it doesn't look good and Carl made it, it probably does not taste good.
True story. True story. So we'll get those facts straight there. So so exposing yourself, David, that's really good. And that's really good that you are aware that was something that you were working on. So being aware of it, go ahead.
And to be honest, I kind of, when I noticed it, I was like, I guess I like big crowds now. It was like the most bizarre thing.
So it was very enlightening too in some ways to finally realize that this was no longer something that holds you back.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Yeah, weaknesses, you guys, sometimes just exposing ourselves over and over and over again to something will allow us, that the other cool part about that, with that being a weakness of yours, that didn't hold you back from still going through the process of finding the job.
Oh yeah.
You still went out there, you applied, you interviewed, knowing that you were going to walk into this job and have to be around lots of people.
Oh yeah.
And you still found a way to work through it and work on it. Good job. Yeah. Good job, David. Thank you. Thanks for coming up. Thanks for sharing. So you guys, definitely weaknesses, they can be something that you've just not done before. They can be all kinds of things. And like I said, David, in his case, the exposure has helped him work on it. Next up, I've got a gentleman here in the front who runs camera, plays guest hosts, does a few things. Hi, Clayton.
Hostess cupcakes.
Oh, Hostess cupcakes are the best. How you doing?
Doing well. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Bless you.
Craig's in here sneezing away, guys. My gosh,
He's allergic to us.
He's allergic to us.
Jeez. Sorry, Craig.
Where's the air conditioning?
Oh, good.
You know what? Yeah. Sorry, guys. Please. Oh, no, Carl's gonna yell at us for breaking that. Sorry, guys. Now it's on, Craig. We got it.
Luckily we got here.
Yes, we got here. Yes. Carl's not here. We can make this place as cold as we want. So, Clayton, to get back on track, so what, if you were either going into an interview or you in general, had to say, maybe, because I think I know myself a little bit, as I'm working, I still have weaknesses that I have, even while I'm working.
Okay.
So, if you had to bring one up, would it be would it be a workplace interview? Well, we know tacos is number one.
Okay, so, true story. Okay, I had my interview here. When they kind of asked, what are some things I felt I need to work on? Technology, heck yeah. Because my previous job, I didn't have to do any technology for a long time, so I was way behind.
So when you were listening to that during the interview and you were listening to the talk of technology, even though a lot of the other parts of the job, you pretty much kind of knew you could I can do that, I can do that. Were you legitimately a little bit freaked out at first?
I was. The computer uses, the tablet stuff, because I didn't use them.
Yeah, no. And I do know where Clayton worked. We didn't use any of that stuff, so totally brand new ball game. And so when you brought that up, did you feel like when you said that in the interview, was it liberating to be able to at least say that?
It was. It was. And I truly believed in my mind, though, if it was put in front of me, I could figure it out.
So you didn't use it as something to keep you, to hold you back?
No, but it was a weakness, And it's a fear of messing it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I did truly believe that I could learn it.
And now that you've done this after, so many years now that you've been here, how do you feel about being on the computer now?
So, take something bad and get something good out of it. The pandemic.
Definitely helped a lot of us with computers.
I had to learn more electronic and technological skills. Had to. It was forced.
Yeah, it was forced.
Because of what we had to switch everything to and do. So now I feel comfortable if there's something wrong. On my computer, I could go into the tech stuff and look at it and say, okay, try this.
Oh, wow.
So I feel really comfortable in it because I had to learn to problem solve, which is a strength.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Clayton used one of his strengths to attack one of his very own weaknesses.
Yeah, and it's turned is my technological skills great? No, most of you guys right there are better than me still, but I'm comfortable.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. No, that's awesome, actually. I think that's great. I mean, because it's not always, sometimes fears or something that, we consider a weakness can definitely demoralize us and kind of make us so scared that we kind of we just don't get better at it because we're too worried about it.
It's like yesterday, true story. I was super frustrated. Remember when you left, I was super frustrated yelling at my computer.
Yes.
Because the password wasn't working.
Yes, happens to me all the time.
Okay, it was not working to get into my computer. Could not figure it out. It kicked me out, froze it. I had to keep shutting my computer down and try again. I was very, very angry. You ask Carl. Carl's trying to help me, because I go, no, I know this is right. I was putting the wrong password in the whole time.
It's okay, Clayton. We're all human.
It's a funny thing Clayton says that, because a lot of times I think even our weaknesses, and especially when it comes to technology, because we let those fears of screwing up get a little inflated, that when we are having an issue like that, we forget that there's a really good chance it's the user and not the actual computer.
It was user error.
User error.
And for some reason, I switched two numbers in my brain because I was super tired yesterday. And I was just like, this is it! And I kept putting it in. Well, and then I said, wait a second. I sat back, I go, wait, maybe it's not that. And I tried the other one, and it was it. And it was just like, oh. And then when I put that password in today to get into my computer, guess what?
It worked just fine. Huh?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. But no, so you guys see how Clayton took his weakness. He was aware of a weakness coming into this job, and he built on this weakness. I'm sure it didn't happen overnight.
Oh, no.
It took time. Like you said, the pandemic sped things up quite a bit.
Yeah, forced.
Yeah,
sometimes you get forced to correct a weakness.
You do. You do. In order to stay with, stay up to date with what's going on, you are forced sometimes. Sometimes you have no choice. I mean, David, in a way, was kind of forced to have to deal with people. That job wasn't going to, all of a sudden tell customers not to show up because David can't handle people, right? We weren't going to say, okay, Clayton, we'll just get you a pen and some paper. He had to face it. So
is it okay to have weaknesses?
I think it's 100% fine. I think it makes us, first of all, it makes us human, because nobody's perfect. No such thing. There's just no such thing.
Tom Brady was pretty close.
Tom Brady was pretty close, according to Clayton, yes. But outside of Tom Brady, there's no such thing. And a weakness is it's 100% okay to have weaknesses. It's 100% okay to, while you're taking, let's say during the interview process, it's okay to bring those weaknesses up, you know, or concerns you might have. Sometimes they talk about stuff in an interview once in a while, and you're like, and you know, it's okay to ask the question. So how much training will I get with that? You know, those are questions that are good to ask, because if you don't know.
Yeah, and when I was young, I used to think saying "I don't know" was a bad answer, but "I don't know" is actually a good answer.
Yeah, if you don't know.
Because you're being honest, you know, and people will teach you.
Yes.
Are willing to teach you because they will assume you know if you don't say it.
If you will, yes, people will not do it unless you communicate your concerns and your needs, you know, like we talk about a lot here, sort of communication, things like that. Unless you talk about it, or like you said, simply say, I don't know, you know, you're going to get the help. You walk around saying, I got it, I got it, I got it. People are going to be, hey, where's that work you said you got 5 days ago?
I'll just say, I don't know, and then you do the research and figure it out. And
Yep.
then get back to them.
Yep. So that's awesome. Well, thank you, Clayton. Thanks for coming on up. Thanks for sharing. Which is now becoming more and more of a strength. Well,
Ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
although if you still watch him type, though, it's like this.
But I type fast. Like
I'm
that.
just kidding.
Hey, I took a weakness because when I took typing in high school, I was during football season, I broke my fingers.
Oh, you too?
Yeah, and
Mine-
so
mine was
and they were
broke.
wrapped like this, and I had to learn to type like this to pass my typing class.
Mine were actually, my knuckle was shattered during
Yeah.
typing as well.
Yeah, and I had to, and the teacher was cool and said, you can type like this, I will pass you if you can keep up. And I kept up.
Nice. See, there
Chicken
you go.
fingers.
Overcame another weakness. Look at that guy. Awesome.
Except for every once in a while you'd be doing this and you hit those fingers on the thing and go, oh.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Clayton. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not easy to share weaknesses, guys, but like I said, I want us to become more comfortable with them because it's also just good self-awareness. So, Austin, come on up, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine.
Just fine, huh?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if you were applying at a specific job or even just had to think of something inside your own personal skill sets that you would say maybe wasn't one of your strengths. You know, and that's another way to word it too. If you guys are afraid of the terminology weakness, you can say, you know, it's not one of my strengths, you know. There's all kinds of different wordings too you can use. But if you know, what's something that you think, like if you were to go into the work field, that you might consider yourself, you know, not quite up to where you would like to be?
Well, I would say that I'd say that I probably don't know, because you may ask me what my weakness is, but I wouldn't know. You could ask me something that seems perfectly normal, but I probably wouldn't know because, well, I don't really know everything, because sometimes I probably won't know what my weakness is until someone tells me, you're really, I don't know, slow, or you're really inefficient, or you take too long, or I don't know.
So someone making you aware of your weaknesses is something that you would like to see if you were in a work environment, because you would like somebody to at least make you aware so you could become stronger at them. Is that what you're kind of telling me?
Yeah, I guess that's sort of what I'm getting at, is because, well, I don't know what my weaknesses are, because in my opinion, I think I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I just don't know if I'm constantly making mistakes or if I'm just, you know, making very minimal mistakes.
You bring up a good point, you know, guys. Actually, Austin does bring up a good point. I mean, it is important for somebody. A good work environment is going to have somebody that's going to point out when you're making an error. And the reason I say that is because if they're pointing out to you that you're maybe either slacking in an area or, you know, you're making an error in this area, that's because they actually are investing time in you. Whereas I've seen it the other way, where they just sit back and watch an individual mess up. No one says anything. they're not investing time in that employee. So you bring up a very good point. You actually kind of want an employee. Now you don't want them yelling at you all the time, and you don't want them telling.
Presentation is important.
And you don't want them telling you you're doing stuff bad every second. But it is good to get that feedback if you are messing up. I mean, how do we learn, right?
Yeah, we don't learn from our mistakes if no one's pointing them out. And it's important to present them in a good way, because if you're just yelling at the guy all the time for their mistakes and not trying to help them improve, that's not improvement. That's just being a jerk.
That's a nice
Yeah.
way of putting it, but yes, pretty much, you're right. And Austin, just so you know, I mean, most times when we are in our work fields, if we have done something maybe that we have to sit down and we have to talk to our boss about, those are a good boss uses those moments as a learning experience, not a discipline. They use it as an actual learning and a training experience. And you'll be amazed. There's a lot of good bosses out there that do that, but that is very important. And you're right. It's good to have things pointed out. And it's also good to ask questions too.
Yeah.
Always ask questions. It's okay. If you don't feel sure of what you're doing, or you don't feel 100% confident in what you're doing, feel free to ask a question, at the appropriate time, obviously. At the end of the day, the beginning of your next shift, check in with your boss. Ask them how they're doing, So,
Yeah.
right on, man. Well, thanks for coming on up. I appreciate it.
No worries, good sir.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, that's a tough one, and like I told you, that is hard, you guys, because sometimes, we don't sit around, and some of us don't sit around and think of our weaknesses, and that's okay. And some of us haven't been in the work field to where we really know what maybe we need to work on, right? So it's important. It's important. And that's why I've talked about it before, that's why getting that first job is so important, because when you get that first job, that shows other employees that you are someone they can work with, because it takes special individuals to be able to correct things and move forward and move on from mistakes and things like that, or build off of weaknesses like David and Clayton brought up here today. So Brennan, come on up, sir. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
You having a good day so far?
Yes.
Nice. So, you kind of have a different outlook on this right now, just because you're currently working as well. But also, if I asked you, what is something either on the job side, or maybe it's an interview, maybe it could even be your personal life. I'm a bad cook. That could be a weakness. It doesn't have to be job related. I don't consider myself a bad cook, but I'm just saying.
Carl.
Yeah. Carl
considers himself a bad cook.
Yeah, Carl considers himself a bad cook. So, at least he's understanding of it, and therefore, maybe he's open to learning how to make some asparagus. No, I'm just kidding, Carl. But if you had some, what would you say?
Mine would have to be communicating with my boss.
Communication, okay. And what do you think? What do you think is and the only reason I ask this is communication's a great answer. Sometimes, though, if you know where you're falling short in the communication, that can help you start to work and resolve that issue.
Yeah, mine was, looking back on it when I first started, was intimidation when it came to feeling intimidated when I would lack the communication to talk to my boss.
Okay.
But yet, as soon as I started to get to know him in as a boss and staff kind of way, I learned that real quickly, actually, really relatively quickly, that he knows how to talk to not just me but to everybody in a casual conversation, but he wants to get everything done in a way. So we were just mentioning this earlier in a group today about assertiveness and communication and everything, and and how to put emphasis on this is what I need you to do, or passive aggressive, and then you've got Pizzo, I believe he kind of remembers better than I do,
But for me, it's my communication.
Communication.
I think it has a lot to do with it because when I talk to my boss, he does it like as in just a regular flow, one-on-one, you know, just go with the flow, say, hey, could you do this, or hey, could you do that, you know, that kind of thing. He doesn't put any emphasis, doesn't down me or anything. He says, hey, I need your help with this, you want to help me?
Okay. So communication. So do you now? Is it? So you were intimidated when you had to first go to your boss, and then it was kind of the intimidation of authority.
Mhm.
Kind of worried about, am I doing something wrong?
Right.
Am I messing up?
Mhm.
Communication. It's hard. If you're somebody that, I mean, in any work field, you have to learn how to communicate with new people. Always remember that. And I'm not saying it's easy, because I understand where Brendan's coming from. We've all kind of been there at one time. You don't know who to talk to, or you know how your boss is going to be. You know, you get nervous about that. But yes, communication can be a weakness for a lot of us. But once again, it's a good one to overcome. It sounds like you're doing that. And we want to overcome the communication because we want to be able to ask if we are doing well or we're not doing well, or if there's something they need or we can work on. You want to be able to communicate. You want to be able to, whatever that word was.
Man, can't you communicate that word, communicate?
I can't communicate that word.
You need to learn how to communicate now.
I can't even redo that mistake. It was so bad. But communication, yeah, no, it's not easy, and it can be a weakness for a lot of us.
Mhm.
I don't think it's uncommon. It's
Now I
not
can
an
just-
uncommon weakness.
Now I can just talk to him like almost like shooting the breeze, almost.
That's good.
Not exactly like that, but
Close.
Close to just almost shooting the breeze.
Good. All right, well, thank you. Thanks for coming up and sharing that. Really. Yeah, a lot of times it's just it's really just getting comfortable with the situation. If you guys kind of noticed a few of the examples that we got here today, a lot of it was just building the rapport with communication, getting used to being out in the crowd, getting stuck in front of the computer a little more than normal, and then getting thrown in front of it during COVID, because that was our only way to communicate with anybody. I mean, I'm right there with Clayton. I mean, I learned Zoom and you name it. I learned all that stuff because of the pandemic. Probably would have never learned any of it if it weren't for the pandemic. I mean, you know, I don't want to say never, but there's a good chance that I wouldn't have learned it during the pandemic.
It sped it along.
It sped it along. And you know, and David's weakness of being around people, you know, getting exposed to it. So sometimes it's a matter of just exposing ourselves. So in order to do that, though, you have to be willing to take that step to that next level. All right, and that next level is putting yourself in a situation where you're going to expose yourself and expose those weaknesses, and so you can grow from them. Yes, I was looking at Clayton's face after I just made a statement. Yes, but but at the same time, you know, we have to be. So I just recommend, if there's something that you're fearful over, or you have a weakness, you feel like you have a weakness, that's where you should be putting the most time, the most effort, and continuing to work on that weakness. Okay. Running away from that weakness is going to do you absolutely no good.
We don't have to worry about that. Running is my weakness.
Running, yes.
Cardio.
Cardio. I'm not running anywhere, so you'll catch me.
Mine too.
But the more you run from it, the longer it's going to be a weakness. And the more fearful you're going to become if you get put in a spot to have to deal with that weakness. All right, the anxiety goes up, all that stuff goes up. So the more exposure you have, the better off it's going to be. You know, dig deep. Find out something that you need help with. We all do, you guys. None of us are perfect. It's okay to have weaknesses, like I was talking about. It's 100% fine. Like I said, in a way, it's kind of encouraged in a way to have some weaknesses, because we're not perfect, and we should be self-aware of not only the positive things we do, but the things that we need to work on.
It's impossible to grow if you don't have any weaknesses.
Exactly. How are you going to grow? You know, I have heard some comments, and I have my own personal quote. I'm not going to throw it out here today, But yeah, I'm right there with Clayton. How are you going to grow unless you have a weakness or something to work on? All right. If we were perfect, I mean, yeah.
Boring.
It'd be pretty boring, guys. Pretty boring.
Boring.
All right. So hey, thanks for being here on Job Hunt Live today. Thank you for those who got up here and discussed their weaknesses. Like I said, I know that's not easy, and I appreciate all you guys out there. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Wednesday. And next time, Craig is going to run Employment Live. All right, guys. Lay ya. Bye.
Thank you guys.
You hear that, Craig?